lot of things about St. George, Utah that I think, the locals take for granted. And these are things that, anytime you grow up in a place, maybe you don't even notice things. So what we're going to talk about in this video is 7 ridiculously scary truths about living in St. George, Utah that you wouldn't really know if you're just going to talk to a local, because we moved here. So we're from, out of town. So we maybe notice things that you also would notice if you're thinking about moving to St. George, Utah. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So stay tuned.
What's up, everybody? I'm Sean Azad.
And I'm Courtney Azad, and we're with Keller Williams Realty right here in St. George, Utah. And if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in St. George, Utah, you've got to press that subscribe button and you've got to press the bell so that you're notified every time we upload a new video, because we upload new videos every week all about St. George and all about what it's like to live here and all about what the new experience is like for somebody who's not from here.
And if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking, wow, Sean, I love St. George. I love the red rocks. I love the eternal sunshine. I can't wait to move out there. But the problem is that I'm not in the area. I don't know anything about St. George. And I totally get that. That's why I want to reach out to us, because that way we can have that conversation about what you're looking for. And then we can, obviously I can be your eyes and ears on the ground here to help you find that perfect property. So what you want to do is you want to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back. So on this channel, we definitely try to be real, we try to be raw, we try to give you the truth, because, there are certain things about St. George that maybe you wouldn't like it. It could be a deal breaker for you. And what we want to do, we want to be honest so that maybe you're like, okay, maybe St. George isn't, the right place for me.
Yeah, or you're going, wow, this is exactly what I was looking for. So this is what's drawing me here. And we want to keep it real and raw. Sometimes we kind of rub people the wrong way a little bit because it seems like we're bashing. But we're just trying to be real, because obviously not everyone is born and raised here. And, again, people have gone and going, they feel like there's so much variety here because 20 years ago, there's only one sushi place, right? And you're going, okay, relatively speaking, yes, it's grown. But the thing is, if you're coming from a different area, it's like, okay, there's some limitations. So we feel like it's our obligation or our duty to at least be real about this stuff.
And while Sean was saying, maybe what we're talking about is something that's something that you really want. Although the first thing we're going to talk about is the extreme weather. And I wouldn't say that's anything anyone really wants. It's maybe just not a deal breaker for you.
Yes and no, because I do get people that reach out and they're just so tired of the cold.
That's true.
That they're just like, I'm ready. I'm ready for that heat. Yeah. I want to have it. Obviously, they want to have it all year round. But again, they want to experience some of that heat for sure.
Actually, that is true. There are people that the hotter the better. Yeah. That's not me personally. For me, okay, so let's talk about the extreme weather. So that's number 1 on our list. The summers here have extreme heat, and part of the summer can be monsoon season. I mean, it's not technically always a monsoon or anything like that, but what that means is that monsoons can come in and you can have some flash flooding, you can have some pretty intense wind and rain. And,
So as far as the definition of monsoon, what would you say that is?
So basically, it's what happens is that because the air it's in the American Southwest, it's not just St. George, it's all over the American Southwest, because the summers are super hot. So basically what happens is the air rises, and then basically the ocean air from all the way on the West Coast comes in and brings in these intense storms that can, they can cause flooding, they can cause damage, and that kind of stuff.
Nothing crazy.
Well, I don't know, there has.
I guess there has been.
Yeah, there has been. And I mean, you can't say never, right?
Never.
It is rare, but I mean, it is possible. There have been homes that have been, washed away. This has happened on, historic events. Once in 100-year events and stuff. But I mean, we can't say it hasn't happened, right? So that is true.
Yeah, and so what we have here is that obviously so the weather here, obviously you have intense heat in the summer. Again, it can be over 110 degrees for several days, in the summer, so just be prepared for that.
And usually when it's dry at least.
Yes.
Like when the monsoons come in, it's a little bit cooler. I mean, the humidity goes up, but it actually kind of brings relief.
Yeah, it's definitely a net positive as far as the pleasantness of the weather.
For sure.
As far as the temperature does drop.
Because you have a lot of cloud cover.
Yeah, and the humidity does go up, but I would say that net, it feels like weather is lower than, let's say, your typical dry, hot summer day here, where it's if it peaks out above 110 or whatever.
Yeah. So, but that is that is a negative, I would say, for me personally, is the hot summers here. I mean, for me, it's not a deal breaker because I would much rather have a hot summer than having to deal with crazy cold winters, shoveling snow. I know a lot of people, up in Idaho, they could even see snow like in July, right? And they are just shoveling snow depending on where they are, like northern Idaho.
I will not shovel snow. That is my deal breaker. That is not something that looks fun for me at all.
For me too, that is a deal breaker. That's one of the main reasons that we decided to come here versus other places in the country, because I do not want to shovel snow. I don't want a cold winter.
Yeah, and I will say that, like us being real about this for you, I think one thing that helps is getting your mind right. It's one thing to go into a place feeling like it's going to be sunshine and lollipops and the weather's going to be 75 degrees perpetually, and that not happening. So but if you're bracing yourself, you're actually, because you're braced for like a pretty hot summer, you're going, okay, when you actually get here, it's not so bad because you're already ready for it. You're kind of like, it's going to be hot. And yes, it is. But again, if you're prepared like mentally for it, that's like 90% of the battle.
Yeah, and I would say your body adapts. You do adapt to it, and then you can find ways to enjoy it. I mean, you can go to the reservoirs, and it's actually fun.
You go to Pine Valley.
Yeah, you can go to Pine Valley. I mean, it is hot enough where the water never feels cold. So that actually is nice because some places around the country, the summer never quite gets that hot, and so water activities can be freezing. Yeah, so I mean, you gotta take the good with the bad, right?
And also what we'll say that though is that when we talk about this extreme weather, it is for about 3 months of the year. The rest of the time, it's absolutely fantastic. So that's when you pay your dues a little bit. And again, how many places in the country you have brutal summers and brutal winters?
Yeah.
We at least just have the summers are hot, no question, but the rest of the time, smooth sailing.
So number 2 on our list in terms of scary truths about St. George, Utah is I would say there's definitely a lack of good after school care here, summer camps, that kind of stuff. It's really, people just kind of do it, ad hoc using care.com, using neighbors, using friends, using family. It's not like in a lot of other areas where, there's just, like a YMCA after school and you don't even have to think about it, or there's an all-day summer camp. They don't really have that here.
Well, not for more than a week. They might have an all-day summer camp for 4 or 5 days, but it's not like, there's a 6-week period or whatever.
Or the whole summer.
Yeah, or the whole summer. So so be aware that, again, there's ways around it. It's just that it's not your typical plug and play, where's your nearest Y, that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I would say another scary truth about living here is that it can be hard to find, at least at this moment. I mean, who knows how the economy in the world would change. But it can be hard to find, workers, basically, someone to come to your house, maybe do the gardening in your house, or a contractor to work on your house, because there's not enough workers here. So not only can it be hard to find, but then they can be extremely expensive because they're in high demand.
Yeah, I would say extremely, but definitely more expensive than you would think.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, we do have a labor shortage here just because there is so much building going on. There's there's so much happening here that labor is in really high demand. So basically what that means is obviously the cost. Where it's interesting is you'll go to a fast food restaurant randomly, and they'll say now hiring, and we'll pay you up to
$18.50 an hour.
Yeah, something like
for fast food.
So you're kind of going, oh wow, they're publishing their rates right there to try to attract that talent. And so it's just one of those things there. Just be aware of that. There's just more digging that you'll have to do to kind of find that, the right people to kind of take care of the items that you need to have taken care of.
So another scary truth about living here, and this isn't just St. George, Utah. This is the entire Western United States. And that is, we are continually living in drought, right? Water is an issue for everyone, whether you're living here, Colorado, northern Utah,
Nevada,
California. I mean, there's just drought everywhere, and it seems to be on everyone's mind a lot of the time, right? I mean, it's an issue that needs to be worked on and solved.
Yeah, and so obviously everyone needs to do their part a bit by obviously, being water conscious, not not running hour-long showers or something crazy. So you want to, and obviously, even though the residential side of things is a small segment of what uses water, and most of it's actually industrial and commercial use kind of thing.
Well, most of
agricultural, actually.
Yeah, agriculture and commercial is the vast majority of use, right? And even golf courses, because they reuse water that you can't even use, like they're actually not that big of a spender. I know they get a bad rap, but because they're
It's like it's reclaimed. I mean,
yeah, they're using reclaimed water, which you can't really use anywhere else. So
yeah, so it's not like so they're not necessarily hurting anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as like, but from our side, you know, obviously what we can do is like, you know, be let's say landscaping, right? I mean, obviously try to keep that as water conscious as possible. Yeah, drought resistant plants. Maybe replacing grass with artificial turf, which honestly is looking better and better over the years. It doesn't look like that, disgusting, ugly, like, you know, like outdoor, like green carpeting that it used to be. Like it looks actually really, really good, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we're currently, you know, trying to do that to our house, and our neighbors actually just did it, and it looks really, really good. Like their backyard is fantastic, and they barely use any water now.
Yeah.
So another super scary truth. And this is a little bit first world problem, so it's kind of, I don't know, complaining about it.
Yeah, it's whining.
But deliveries here, whether that's Amazon next day, which is not available here, or just deliveries in general from, you know, Costco or anywhere, it can be kind of dicey here.
Yeah, and mostly about it being delayed. So this is obviously not the major hub, right? So like if you're in Vegas, which is just like an hour and a half or so away, major hub, you know, they have like next day delivery for Amazon. They have, you know, again, like whatever you want can be delivered there relatively quickly. Or obviously if you're talking about California, any major hub, right? Like any major metropolitan area. Here, it's a little bit delayed. So you're not getting deliveries as quickly. And sometimes you're limited about what can be delivered to you. So it's kind of one of those things where you just want to be aware of the fact that, again, not everything is going to be ready for you right away.
Yeah, for sure. And even we actually just bought a new piece of furniture because it was at just this local store. It was so cute. It was a restored piece of furniture, and I just loved the way that the woman who owned the store painted it. And then I asked her, I was like, well, how do we get it to our house? And she's like, oh, well, you know, I guess my husband's coming into town on Tuesday. Can I just put it in his truck and bring it to your house? And I was like, sure, I guess. But yeah, so it's not like, you know, you go to a store and they ship it to you. It's very, I would say, I don't know.
I think it's depending. I mean, if you're in a furniture store, they definitely can do all the delivery stuff.
That's
I mean, it's just obviously you get these quaint little interesting shops.
Which are the best ones.
Yeah, they have those, you know, unique large pieces that, you know, again, requires, I mean, like, for instance, they actually did have an option of a delivery company, but of course that was going to cost like way more money. So it was nice of the shop, you know, owner to go ahead and offer to deliver it, I guess.
Yeah. But it just kind of gives you an example. And if you're like me and you're delaying on buying the kids the back to school stuff, then you're kind of thinking to yourself, oh, am I like basically putting myself in hot water because I'm not going to be able to get any of these items that I know I need, but I'm delaying because I just don't want to face it. Like, go on that checklist and then look to see what we have and what we don't have. So, yeah, deliveries can be annoying here. So another ridiculously scary truth, and I don't know if this is ridiculous, but it's just something to get...
scary.
It's just something to get used to, and that the recycling truck doesn't come every week. It only comes every 2 weeks. So for us, I mean, I guess maybe in a good way, it lets you know how much waste you truly have. But, I mean, it does mean that you kind of maybe have to just get used to, like, crushing bottles or anything like that. And then if your recycling can does get a little bit overflowed, then you have to put it in the trash, which to me, I don't like to do. Like, I like to recycle as much as I can.
Yeah, as much as possible, we keep it in the recycling and we do separate things out. So it's just one of those things where you're kind of thrown for a loop. If you're like, did we do something wrong?
Yeah.
We put the trash bin out and didn't get taken.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh no, they just don't come every week. So it's just one of those things to be aware of.
And then the last item on our ridiculously scary list is that Sundays and evenings can be pretty dead around here, I would say. Especially, you know, a lot of shops downtown, which is a cool place to go. I mean, I really love downtown, but especially on Sundays, a lot of the shops are closed.
Yeah.
You know, your big name stores, you know, big restaurants, that kind of stuff, they don't typically tend to close on Sundays.
Costco's open.
I mean, you know, it's not like everything is closed on Sundays, but I would say that it is pretty dead.
Yeah, a lot of the small businesses for sure are closed on the weekends. Or on Sundays.
Yeah, on Sundays for sure.
Yeah, and as far as like late night things, again, after, again,
Yeah.
we don't have a huge late night scene. I mean, we have
Yeah.
again, downtown, like particularly like by Ancestor Square and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You have, that's probably the closest thing we have to a late night scene.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
otherwise,
mean, they do have like bars there,
Yeah.
breweries, that kind of stuff. But otherwise, like Sean says, it's fairly dead.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's our video.
And if you're thinking, wow, Sean, I'm ready to go. I'm not in the area, but I really want to move here. So what's my next step? And what you want to do is you want to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back.